Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today, the focus of our video is going to be focusing on the inputs as opposed to the outputs. Now, what that actually means is what we're going to explain in today's video. We're going to try to keep it quite concise, but the whole point of this video basically is for people like myself, people like yourself, who they might get stressed at certain points, angry, sad that they're not hitting certain financial goals or certain like life goals or certain achievements, certain outputs in their life. And this is the sort of video where you should come back to when you feel like that, and ideally this rationalizes that feeling and redirects the energy into a better place. So yeah, if you want to go into like what the effects of thinking about outputs are.
So yeah, thinking about outputs, what that actually does for you is it just leads to frustration, it leads to burnout, and the main thing it leads to is inconsistency. If you are not getting those results, you're going to feel like shit basically, and when you feel like shit, you're so much more likely to quit. And the main thing with business and with all that, business and anything to be honest, fitness, business, school grades, anything like that, the main thing is that growth is not from never failing, growth is from never quitting. So the only time you're actually going to see results, so the same outputs that you're looking for, the only time you're ever going to actually see them is if you continue to actually put them inputs in. So the main point of this video is that letting outputs affect you is what's going to make you quit, and that's what's going to drive you out of any sort of business or anything that you're actually doing. So that is what focusing on outputs can do to you. It makes you frustrated, it makes you angry with yourself, it makes you feel like this, makes you feel like that, it makes you feel like what you're doing isn't worth it, and then it's just going to drive you away from the business or from whatever you're doing. So that's the whole point of this sort of video, and that's what focusing on outputs actually does.
I think it's very important also to say that for me, for instance, let's wind it back now. So like 3 years ago, I had never even started a single successful business in my life. Obviously now we've been able to scale in property, and we're doing what we're doing right now. You see on Instagram and stuff, we even see in the rest of the page what we're able to achieve right now. But what I used to do is I used to basically sit there, like let's say I'm reading a book, let's say I'm watching YouTube, I used to then be angry or annoyed because I'm comparing myself to these other people online. Like, you know, I'm on about Iman Gaji, Musa, all these people that are like posting about their lifestyle, and obviously you look at it and be like, oh, why is that not me? You know, it's not fair, and then your energy will be just directed into thinking about why that isn't you, and why are you not at 10k, and oh, it's so unfair, I hate that I'm not at 10k, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm embarrassed, that sort of thing. And as he said, it does make you feel a certain type of way. And the main thing we want to say here is when you do feel like that, you have to basically mentally reframe it this way. So you need to imagine that 10k is the output, and focusing on this output does nothing for you. It's like, okay, when it comes to business, I don't know why everyone's mind like doesn't work. If I told you you need to go to the gym and get an amazing muscular physique as a guy, what would you do? You would start lifting more, you start eating better, and you'd learn what to do. Do you realize how lifting more, eating better, learning what to do, getting better technique, these are inputs to which creates the output? Now, let's take it into another analogy, for instance, school, right? Like, and I did this myself personally. So like, let's say in school, you're not doing well, you're doing horribly, you're failing everything. If I told you, okay, you now need to get to an A star, okay, your goal is to get an A star, or like, if you're American, God, what do they do again? A plus or some shit, whatever it is. How do you do that? You start studying, you start revising, you start putting the work in class. Like, instantly, people with certain things, they know the exact input, and then they go and do it. Like with gym and with school, it's very obvious, but with business, people seem to get it twisted. They seem to think about it the other way. They seem to think that it's just about the money. You need to realize the money is a side effect which lags behind your inputs. You will only ever get money or an output for something that you've previously done. It doesn't make sense that that you can just start summoning money. Money only happens when you bring something to the marketplace which is valuable and someone actually pays for it, right? It's not like people online make it out like you can just make businesses and provide value to no one and just start drop shipping bullshit shirts and then making money. That's not true. You have to provide value to someone. Like, you need to figure out which shirts people actually want and what people like and what way the trends are going, that sort of thing. So it's very, very important that you focus back on the inputs. You're angry you're not getting 10k, cool, feel angry, channel that, now obsess over the inputs. What on earth will get you to 10k that you can actually actionably do now, today, or even in the next few days, consistently? What will actually allow you to get that far? And that is what you actually need to focus on. So like, if you're listening to this and if you feel that way, remember that it's up to you now to mentally reframe it. If think about it, it's like you being angry about not being muscular or like built well or hench, if you want to say, but you haven't even put in the work. You haven't even put in the work. And if that was you, you wouldn't sit there and be angry about not having. It's like imagine this. Imagine it's the same thing as sitting there and being angry that you don't have money in the bank when you're not saving money. It doesn't make logical sense. But with business, some people, I don't know why, their head just decides not to work. So the way that you need to think is this. It's not about this 10k. 10k isn't even important. The question, what is important, is what the hell are people doing to get 10k and more? And let me just go and do that over and over and over again, iterating, getting better every single time. And then guess what? Over time, you'll hit 10k easily. You'll hit 20k easily. This is what happened to us. If you want to necessarily add to that.
So yeah, what I'm going to do to make it a bit easier is like define inputs and outputs. I'm sure you get the message anyway, but what inputs actually are things that you can control, so things that you can actually do every day in order to get closer to your goal. The output is the result. If your goal is 10k, 10k is the output. 10k is not possible without you putting in the correct inputs. That's exactly why you should never solely focus on the output and why you're not reaching 10k, why you're not this, why you're not that. Let's say your goal is to, I don't know, get better grades. You should not cry over the fact that you didn't get an A star. You should just go and do the work that needs to be done in order for you to get that A star. And that's the difference between crying over inputs and crying over outputs and obsessing over outputs as opposed to obsessing over inputs. Somebody who obsesses over outputs they'll cry they don't get the A star. They'll feel like, you know what, I'm a failure, I'm not good enough, this, that. Someone who detaches from the outputs and is obsessed with their inputs, what they will do is they will realize, okay, I haven't done enough work in order to get that A star. I am not someone who deserves that A star. What I need to do is do more work, or do better work, or do more efficient work. And that's exactly why focusing on the inputs is the only thing that's going to get you the desired output. Obsessing over the output will get you nothing. There is a quote which is, it is simple as always, fall in love with the process. And that's all you should do. Successful people, there's a stat that I think Kobe Bryant or one of them basketballers, they missed the most 3-pointers in the season or something like that. They missed the most 3-pointers in the whole career, but they're also the best player ever. So I'm not sure who the person is, but the same person who is the best basketballer ever missed the most 3-pointers or something like that. And that just goes to show that if they cried every time they missed a 3-pointer, they wouldn't be in the place that they are. The only reason that they actually got to the status that they are the best basketball player or whatever is because they rose above them falling pretty much. They knew focusing on the outputs is not going to get them anywhere. The only thing that's going to get them to where they were, and the only reason they actually are who they are now, is because they focused on the inputs only, and they did that for a long period of time to the point where they've absolutely cleared their whole competition. So that's why you should fall in love with the process and do not fall in love with the results, or the desired results pretty much. And inputs always cause outputs as well.
Every time. Every single time.
Mathematically, it's physically whatever. It's impossible to get an output without doing the correct inputs. So there's no point at all in stressing over your outputs, because it's just going to cause you to feel bad and cause you to feel like shit and cause you to basically want to quit and want to switch models and all that sort of stuff.
100%. I think what I want to add as well is that I want to give as many examples as we possibly can to explain this principle. So I've got 3 for you right now. Okay, so firstly, it's a personal one. It's gonna sound really cringe, right? But at school, I was stupid, right? Up until year 10. So I was failing basically everything. If not failing, not doing very well. All I did to realize that obviously I was at that fail level, and then eventually I obviously got I did pretty well with my grades. I did okay. I wasn't a full straight A perfect student, but I did pretty decently. The lowest grade I got was a B. Everything else was A stars, A's, and everything like that. So the way that I went from that to that was literally just changing my inputs. I realized that I simply wasn't churning enough hours in. I wasn't focusing enough. So I just started. As soon as I switched that, the grades completely changed. Everything completely swapped instantly. It was literally straight away. That's number one. Number 2 is physics, right? So in physics, they say energy can't be created or destroyed, it can only be transferred, right? And that's what he means by the input to output thing. If you're not putting anything into the system, nothing is going to come out. It's literally it makes perfect sense. If there was nothing in this bottle, nothing would then come out. It's the same with your business system. It's the same with anything. Sorry, like this isn't even about necessarily business. This is about outputs in general. Like if you don't put in the relevant inputs, the output just will not happen. And I'd say the last example that I have is about our business. So like for me, and for us, to be honest, we used to both like sit there and be like unhappy that we weren't hitting 10k a month, or like even making anything in business. Like with business, it's pretty simple. Like you basically go from zero and you get to 10k pretty quickly, because like getting from 0 to 10k, you can do the same skill over and over again. So for us, that was Airbnb. So to get from 0 to 10k, all that we changed in between that was just the inputs. We just learned the strategy, learned the vehicle, and just did it over and over again. Like it's pretty simple. Like people overcomplicate these things. I think with business specifically, people like they think it's bigger than it is. They think businessmen are these big guys with like massive cars, and they're super intelligent. When you actually meet like successful businessmen or successful businesswomen, successful business people, you'll realize they're normal people. They've just done what you probably haven't. So another thing that I also want to mention is that like a lot of people are not happy with the results that they're getting or the life that they're living right now, but you can't be unhappy about you not getting the results for the work that you haven't even put in yet. If you're not putting in the relevant work, you're not going to get those outputs, so you can't be unhappy about that. And when you rationalize that, then your life will absolutely change.
Yeah, exactly. And literally, when focusing on outputs as well, people tend to be scared of failure. Because, for example, if they have 10k a month in their head, that's like, it's almost scary for them to be like, I don't want to start a business. I can't make 10k a month in 3 months like these people online are making. So that's what it does. Unfortunately, people get too caught up in that whole, like, this whole success around business and I want to start a business because I want €1 in a month. It's like, it doesn't work like that. And what that does is it stops people from taking risks as well. And when you don't take risks, you live the same life. Like if you hate your life now and you don't take a risk, you're gonna live the same life for like as long as you don't take that risk for. So please, next time you're considering doing anything, or next time you see, just take a look at your life and see what makes you sad, what makes you happy, all that sort of stuff. Just make sure whatever makes you sad or happy is not an output. Make sure it is just purely based on the inputs. You should be happy if you put in the correct inputs. That's it. And if you're doing that every single day, like gym, if your goal is to lose weight and you're dieting correctly and you're going to the gym like every time you said you would, that's what should make you happy. It shouldn't annoy you that you haven't lost 2 pounds in, I don't know, 2 weeks when you thought you could, based on a random person on social media. That shouldn't matter to you. What should matter to you is, are you doing the inputs and are you doing them consistently, and the fact that you're not going to stop doing them.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. Like, I think you've demonstrated the point perfectly. And like, the whole point of this video is now, it's not just information, and I don't want you to sit here and just take the information and like, mentally be like, oh yeah, this is productive, man, I'm learning great things. Go and do the inputs for the output that you want. Please, I beg of you. I know that you're probably, I watch YouTube in bed. You're probably in bed watching, like, on YouTube, watching this. Please make a plan. Please, like, get out of bed. I mean, if it's the right time, okay? And actually start to work on those inputs, because your life will not change unless you work on those inputs, okay? And if it's down to like, that's simple as, if you found that was helpful, if you found this was like something that you want more of, by all means leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.